technique. So we have a famous American, he's on it all over the country, all over the world, a famous American. His name is, I like to call him Cassius Clay. I don't know why he's famous, but he did make famous a technique called rope-a-dope, and that's why I bring his name up. He would box and he'd get up against the ropes, and he'd let the other guy punch himself out, and then he'd go to work on it. So that's what I'm trying to press on you guys, is the same technique with the fish. You let that fish punch himself out, and then now he's going to eventually get to the point where he's sitting out there, and I'm a human being. I can walk forward, I can walk sideways, I can even walk backwards. A fish can only swim forward. So if you can get his head turned, that's the key to it. So he's sitting out there with that leader over his shoulder, and he's got this big, huge tail pumping on you. And now you're going to get to the stage where he's running. Now you're going to get to the stage where you just feel a little give, and you can pump up and reel down and get line. That's how you get it. And you can't fish like you do grouper fishing. You can't catch these fish with the pole under your arm. It ain't going to work. So you either got to get it in the groin, or I don't use a belt, but most people do. Get yourself a belt, have it ready. And Ralph likes to say, and I agree with him, have a plan. When you go out and it's 2 years or 3 years, you're by yourself, you got to have your plan in your own mind that you don't screw it up. If you got 2 or 3 people on a boat, you say, all right, Ralph, you're taking the first fish, or we usually fish with 6 rods. You got the starboard, I got the port. This way you pay attention to what's going on, and you're not doing a fire drill, say Chinese fire drill. Oh, who's going to take the fish? The fish is jumping, the fish is gone. Too late. Same thing now. I got a fish on. You got 5 other rods to clear and get out of the way. You don't want to get them all out of the way, because you can frequently get multiple hookups. But the fish, the same thing with these fish. If you don't properly handle and fight these fish, they'll take you around the boat 6, 8 times. We do a lot of fishing with the anchor down. They'll take you under the anchor rope. Club rules is once you get hooked up, nobody else can touch the rod, reel, or line until it's a leading touch for it to be recognized as a club fish. If you just want to go out and get a bunch of fish, pass the rod around, that's cool too. But they're not going to be club fish. They're not going to be recognized on the website and for top 10 and all the other things. At least I thought I did. The fish now, you can do pump and reel, and now some of the ladies and the young kids, they don't have the upper body strength to do that pumping and reel on a 120-pound fish. Here you have a technique, but just come with me a little bit, Ralph. Walk backwards, reel forwards. You're not using your upper body. A 90-pound, 80, 90-pound woman, 60, 70-pound kid can walk backwards, reel forward. You're accomplishing the same thing as the pump and reel that you're doing with your arms.
But it's been laying around.
Also, be aware that sometimes these hooks will pull. And if they do, and you're not prepared, and you put this kind of pressure on the fish, and all of a sudden the hook pulls, you're going to end up on your ass. So it's just another thing to be aware of. And we had last year, we had one of the guys had a fish up close. With all kinds of pressure on the fish, you got to be careful. You got to always my vision distance is all right. I can't see anything up close, but always have some kind of eye protection on. This guy last year, he had a fish up close, working the fish hard. The hook pulled, came shooting at him, embedded itself past the bar in his arm, and he had. There's a picture on the website. That much of the fish buried in his arm. That's emergency room time. Get the hook out of it. Fish, an experienced fisherman can be in this corner of the boat, have the rod go off, and with the cooperating fish, can stay right in that corner and catch that fish. Inexperienced, that fish starts heading sideways, don't know what to do with him, around the boat again, around the boat again. So what you can do is you can steer these fish. And that's simply, instead of pumping up and reeling down, the fish is trying to take off that way. It's side pressure this way, and you'll actually turn that fish, like I was talking before, with that head first attitude. If you can turn his head, that's where he's going to go. He can't swim backwards. Turn his head. And then it takes off the other way.